responsibilities defined within a particular deployment. You have the flexibility of doing the reporting and advice generation. The security is very tight. There is complete audit trail arrangement. There is division of screens with regards to the roles and tasks each and every employee handles at a bank. There are multiple deployment options where you can actually configure a particular branch to be an Islamic branch, or maybe a corporate branch, or maybe a private banking branch. So these are some of the flexibilities and options that comes with the leading core banking platform called FlexCube. And here we are trying to say that all of these advantages and benefits are also core of our Islamic banking product. This slide primarily introduces you to the functional architecture of the Islamic banking product and how it looks like. It covers right from the origination workflows to the various financing options that are available, which are fairly comprehensive and elaborate, the various accounts and deposit products which come out of the box, plus treasury and trade finance. So depending on how much an Islamic bank or an Islamic financial institution wants to deploy or offer to its customers, the solution is capable of offering the end-to-end lifecycle processing for Islamic finance products. When we talk of lifecycle management of Islamic finance, it starts right from the acquisition to servicing, and it concludes with the closure of any Islamic finance contract. We are proud to say that we have some elite names as our customers, and the Sharia boards of these banks, as well as some of the individual scholars in Sharia, have endorsed our products in the Islamic finance and Islamic banking space. Notably, Nizam Naqvi, who is part of several Sharia boards in the Middle East, and you can actually note the other scholars over here who are part of either the bank Sharia board or enrolled with independent Sharia boards. To conclude this particular section of my presentation, some of the key takeaways. Islamic banking as a product is available as part of the core platform, and the core platform is a proven leader in the core banking space. The coverage that we have today is comprehensive and end-to-end. We have a completely integrated platform to offer both conventional as well as Islamic banking out of the same product platform. The process flows are embedded, and that will help the bank quick turnaround and launch their processes and stay abreast with the changing norms and Sharia interpretations as they come by. The subsequent section talks about a brief background of how the various players in the space of Islamic finance, they have experiences and the way they have evolved over a period of time, and how that has impacted how technology has been realigning itself to address and meet the requirements and expectations of the Islamic financial institutions. Typically, an Islamic financial institution, if we look at this particular slide, they are relatively new, they are relatively small, and they do not have a lot of budget allocated towards technology. So these are some of the typical characteristics that we have seen for Islamic banks and Islamic financial institutions. On the other side, if we look at the customer base for Islamic financial institutions, 15% will be the dedicated Islamists who will come to the bank, whatever the product or services that you may offer. So that's something which is kind of taken for granted for the Islamic financial institutions. There is the other 15% who are the non-believers. Believers. So whatever you may do, however good your product or services may be, they'll probably not come to you. And there is this other significant chunk of 70% who are independent and who will come to Islamic financial institutions depending on how they design and develop their products and how they're deploying them or bringing them to the market and its customers. So this will be the key for how an Islamic financial institution will grow and align itself over the next, in its investment towards growth and progress. On the other side, if we look at the cost of compliance, apart from all the other mandatory compliance initiatives that any conventional bank has to ensure, there are other Sharia compliance requirements, Sharia audits, the various boards which do the auditing. These compliance requirements also need to be met by the Islamic financial institutions. So the cost of compliance overall are higher for Islamic financial institutions. If we look at the competitors, it's not just that you are competing with Islamic banks in your market. It's also the conventional banks who you're competing with in terms of attracting customers and offering them products. Not just conventional and Islamic banks, you also have the non-banking financial institutions who you will also have to compete with when you have to soar towards your success. On the product side, things have been evolving at a rapid pace, and things have been evolving in terms of how the interpretations go, and even as we speak, there are new regulations and standardizations which are being observed in the Islamic finance space. One of the studies which were conducted by IBS London way back in 2007 actually revealed some of the startling facts about how Islamic banks have ventured in technology. And some of these important facts are the decisions being made by the banks have been too quick. So they were probably looking at some quick fix solutions or trying to quickly get a vendor, do the deployment and start running the operations. Now, Islamic banking and Islamic finance is not a simple and easy offering. Now, that's something which vendors and technology players need to understand. Banks have been under budgeting for their technology. That's the second important aspect. So while conventional banks would typically keep aside, depending on its size, maybe $1 million for their technology, Islamic banks are, it was noticed back in 2007 that they have not been budgeting enough for the technology side, which is so very important for banks to function in today's dynamic world. Vendors also lacked knowledge in the Islamic finance space. So vendors were also trying to think that, probably Islamic banking is a simple kind of thing, and we can actually tweak some of the existing conventional banking products to deliver Islamic products, which Islamic banks and financial institutions can go and offer to their customers. That's something which, again, is one of the findings, key findings of this particular research. In several cases, it's also been noticed that vendors has been trying to mislead the banks in terms of believing what their need is in terms of the technology platform. And the fifth most important point is the varying interpretations of Sharia. Now, from 2007 to today, how we have seen the dynamics of this particular space change is decisions being made too quick. They are less prevalent right now. So we are seeing Islamic banks and Islamic financial institutions invest a little more time in trying to understand in what they are investing, not just go and pick up a software which can service. Some of the other things are the budget that is being allocated to the Islamic finance technology. We have seen some of the Islamic banks who had initially gone and invested in some some lower technology platform. They have decided to actually go and replace their legacy and invest in better technology platform to ensure that they can come up the curve quickly, they can deliver better products and services to the customers, and be more compliant to the changing regulatory requirements. We are also seeing, in terms of the vendors, there's a marked improvement in terms of their understanding and appreciation of this niche space. Once again, earlier we did notice as part of the study that vendors in some cases were probably misleading the Islamic banks because there was an interpretation issue of how you appreciate and understand the banking requirements for an Islamic institution. So these again have evolved. Vendors understand them better. They are taking a different stance to ensure that there is more collaboration, more understanding, greater depth in how the technology is deployed. Also the vendor interpretations and the interpretations of Sharia, that is also seen some drastic reduction because there is a lot of standardization which has been happening over the last 5 years. As a technology vendor, we find that there are several players who have played a role in re-architecting the technology platform for Islamic banking and Islamic finance. From the vendor side, we had initially seen that there were separate products, one for Islamic and one for conventional banking. On the other side, we have seen, the Islamic banking product was probably sleek and, they were architected differently to meet the requirements more as an ad hoc basis than a prominent platform. Most of the products were also very procedural based. So what we had seen is time needed to launch a new product or change anything in the existing system were much longer. From a bank's perspective, we have seen that the older banks have started replacing their legacy systems, and they have started investing in newer technology platforms. The banks have not been able to offer sophisticated products and services to its customers, because at the end of the day, it's the same customers that conventional or Islamic banks are servicing, and customer is as demanding as ever. So how quickly and how well you turn around and support or service your customers has become one of the key driving factors for banks. On the technology side, technology has evolved significantly. From the earlier days of procedural languages, we have now moved to services-oriented architecture towards cloud. So it's a huge transformation that we are seeing on the technology